And welcome back to Division Therapy. I don't even know what episode it is at this point. I feel like we've been
Lost
doing
count.
this
There's
for
so many.
yeah,
We're more than halfway through the year. It's got to be in the
yeah,
high 20s, 30s, maybe.
yeah, easily
Yeah.
easily over the 100 game mark now. I'm like we're truly starting to see throughout the East, but throughout the entire the majors, what a lot of these teams are going to be. There's some guys that are starting to kind of fall off, some teams that are starting to lose it, and then there's some
Yeah, I mean,
teams that
it's
are
like
just going on
yeah.
crazy streaks.
There's a lot of parity in the MLB right now, so I'm curious to see how these next couple weeks up until the trade deadline, August 3rd, see how everything shakes out because, like you said, like there's just a lot of pieces up in the air, right? Like who expected the Red Sox to go on that 14 game winning streak? That was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely,
Um,
absolutely insane. I do something interesting about that streak though is I could definitely see them bouncing back and going on a crazy losing streak like the Marlins are going right now.
I
You
don't know.
know.
I think their pitching's too good, but we can. That's neither here nor there. And that's not about the NL East. This is division therapy after all.
This is true. This is
Yeah.
true. But yes, welcome back. We got a lot to talk about. Recap the Mets series. So let's get started because I feel like the last time y'all were in Milwaukee, or every time I think of Mets in Milwaukee, I think of that Pete
Pete
Alonso home
Alonso.
runs, home run.
Who?
So
Who?
yeah, that's
Never
true.
heard of
Who?
this guy. No, it went about as expected, right? The Brewers are the best, if not the second best team in the league.
Yeah.
And first game right out of the series win in Philadelphia, you have to face Jacob Misiorowski. And Miz only went 4 innings, right? Like they've been super careful with Miz and pushed him back, and he didn't pitch in the All-Star game. He was on 13 days of rest, and he only pitched 4 innings, and
Yeah.
he just looked great against the Mets. But the real story of the game was Freddie Peralta's return to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So he returned to Milwaukee for the first time. Obviously, got traded in the offseason. He had spent his entire career up until that point in Milwaukee. So I'm sure a lot of emotions were going through Freddie's mind and body. And the revenge game was destined to happen. And no,
Yeah, I'm like I don't know if
no,
you can really call it a revenge for the
you can't.
Brewers. I'm like not.
You
Yeah,
can't. Peralta sucked. He,
yeah,
everyone thought, well, not everyone, but I thought that, he would rise to the occasion. This is the moment that he's been waiting for. Now is the time he will get back on the horse because he's just been so underwhelming this year. But no, his final line, 5 1/3, 7 runs, 8 hits. They ambushed him, and it was hard contact, and it wasn't lucky hits. Like his fastball, he's called Fastball Freddy. His fastball is flat as hell. There's just
Mhm.
nothing to it. I don't know. It's just there's no movement to it. If wherever Alvarez puts the glove or Torrens puts the glove is where the pitch is going to be. There's no movement on the ball. And it was over before it even started, really, right? Because like Brewers score what 2-3 runs, the game's over because you're facing Miz, and even when the Mets got lucky, Miz was out of the game by the fifth inning, and
Yeah.
they were not able to take advantage. Mets gave up 3 home runs in this game. Joey Ortiz, of all people, hit a 3-run homer in the sixth inning. He has played no, okay, but Joey Ortiz, he's if you're a casual, you probably don't know Joey Ortiz, right? Fair.
Yeah,
Incredible defense. He played just like
yeah,
a
absolutely.
fantastic third base against the Mets. And he also offensively, got it going for them in the sixth. So 3-run home run. And this game just wasn't the Mets. It was clear who the team is that is leading in the division. That's considered one of the best teams in baseball, and it wasn't the Mets. However, the second game in the series, the Mets look great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just like a shutout. A
Yeah,
shutout, no runs, no
yeah.
run scored. Seemingly a pretty easy. Were there any kind of big moments where the Brewers had opportunities? Did they have a lot of runners in scoring position, or was it just really
Not
just cruising in that second
Yeah,
game?
not really. It was kind of just cruise control for Zach Thornton, who we've talked about on the podcast a little bit. In the recap as well, I talked about him. Interestingly enough, I don't know if you saw this, but he, up until, last week, his name was spelled Zach. As of,
As most people
Monday,
spell it. Yep.
he dropped the H, or Tuesday, he dropped the H. So he's just
What,
ZAC.
he got his name legally changed? What do you mean?
Yes, that is what he now wants to go as, ZAC. He said the H never made sense to him, and honestly, he could pitch with whatever name he wants if
Yeah,
he is pitching like this.
whatever.
Because 6 scoreless innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, first MLB victory. I mean, he just looks incredible. He is a guy who's not going to overpower you with his stuff, but he's going to make you chase, and he is going to have extremely, extremely good control. And it was just more of the same from Zach Thornton. The underlying stats are not as good for him, but right now he's cruising to a sub-2 ERA and a sub-1 WHIP, so you love to see that. And then Luis Robert Jr., who will be playing in the next handful of games for the Mets up until the trade deadline to showcase that he is healthy, that he is talented, that he is worth trading for, hit a just massive, massive home run.
Huge home run.
It was crazy. It went 451 feet to left center. Absolute shot. And, if you can get anything for this guy, right? Like, you didn't really trade anything for him. You traded Acuna's brother, Luis Angel Acuna, who just is awful. So it's not like you really traded much for him, but he's obviously been a disappointment. You wanted him to, have that repeat of the 2023 season where he was just ungodly, had like an 850 OPS, really great speed on the base paths. Obviously, that has not happened. He has, been injured most of the year, which is kind of his calling card for his career so far. But he's healthy now, and listen, he could definitely help a team down the stretch. So if any teams are listening to this podcast and want Luis Robert Jr., I will gladly give him to you.
I'm not. I honestly think there's more of a likelihood that he doesn't go to a contender, like that he goes to a team, trying to make a move or trying to ship something off.
Who has it written all over? The Angels. Like, it just has the Angels.
I was actually
gonna
say the A's. Like, I feel like the
really?
A's.
No, I think they like their young guys. They have a really young roster, and I guess Luis Robert isn't super old, but I don't know. But yeah, speaking of the young guys, Carson Bench had a huge hit, 2 insurance runs in the game, and then another homecoming for for a former Brewer. Devin Williams is back in Milwaukee. The last time that he pitched in Milwaukee we kind of alluded to it already, Pete Alonso hitting that 3-run shot off of him, because then he was traded to the Yankees and now he's on the Mets. And whatever demons he was fighting, whatever was in his head, he looked great. He was up 4-0, obviously, so not a save situation, but he just slammed the door. It was great.
And I'm sure that felt good.
I'm sure that felt great for him. Yeah. Honestly, it was weird though. It was weird. He got like no reaction at all, whereas like Freddie Peralta got a huge like pop, and obviously that was the start of the game. But Devin Williams, I mean, he was like one of the best closers in baseball for like what,
rookie of the year.
Like this guy was really good for the Brewers.
One of the few ever relievers in that situation to ever win a rookie of the year.
Exactly. So it was a little weird. And then the last game was it was a microcosm of the season, right? You have Bret Beatty in right field for whatever reason. And I am a Stearns guy, right? I love defending Stearns. I don't think he's made a ton of bad moves. I just think that on paper they make sense and they just haven't worked out, which is, that's baseball, Susan. But Bret Beatty in right field, you are going to pay for that, and they sure did, because he misplayed a ball that led to 3 runs getting scored. It was just terrible. I'm like, why is Bret Beatty in the outfield? He shouldn't be. Christian Scott was 1 strike away from ending the inning, getting out of the jam. Joey Ortiz, fly ball to right field on the warning track. Beatty gets completely lost, and it's a 2-run triple. It was just a domino effect because they scored 3 runs in that inning, and the Mets were just down, before it even started once again. And then, funnily enough, Beatty hits a home run later in the game.
Yeah, I saw that.
Solo shot, right, to try and make up for it. Obviously didn't. Cut it to 3-2, which was great, but, they were just... The bats went ice cold when it mattered most. They struck out 15 times, and they went 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. And this is the problem between good teams and bad teams, and we've talked about it all season long. If you cannot hit with runners in scoring position, if you cannot get that clutch hit, it does not matter how good your pitching is, how good your defense is, because you can't win when it matters most. And, for the Mets, their pitching hasn't been good, their defense hasn't been good, and they haven't hit in runners in scoring position. So it's just more of the same thing. They were down 4-2 in the ninth, and Francisco Alvarez had an RBI single to give some life. But I mean, if you've been watching this team at all this year, you know that nothing was going to happen, right? Like this is
Right.
just this team has no heart. They have no energy. They have no. It's so bizarre, and I struggle to come up with words for it, but it's like this team just they don't gel. They don't know each other, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
like these other teams where we had Alonso, Nimmo, McNeil. Granted, they didn't win anything, but there was still that fight. There was still that passion. It's like these guys are just collecting a paycheck at the end of the day, right? They're playing for a manager who knows he's going to get fired at the end of the year. He's not going to be the manager, and they just don't give a shit. It's clear as day that they really don't care, and they say the same things in these interviews, and it's honestly sickening because I'm trying to see them make some moves for the next year. I'm trying to see Zach Thornton develop, and I'm trying to see Benj and Ewing improve. But all these other guys, I'm like, either trade them or just end the season, because it is just awful watching this team right now, because it's just there's no redeeming quality to this team. They look dead, they play dead, and they are dead.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, what's interesting is that I do really feel like, especially with some of the players on the Braves, like if it's Joey Bart and Drake Baldwin, them asking Drake Baldwin, he's like, "Oh yeah, we went fishing on Lake Lanier and we caught some fish." Or, if it's like
Yeah.
Matt Olson and the his mom is like the team mom, like
But
she
it's not like the
brings
Mets didn't
like
have
apparently she
these
brings like orange like
things. Yeah,
yeah.
like Freddie Peralta, I think invited people to his house in spring training, and like they have like bonding moments and stuff like that. It's just I don't know, man. It's a lot of personalities, a lot of new personalities. A manager who, when he's managed, hasn't been great. I love his press conference. I will say, like his press conferences are very refreshing compared to Mendoza, who was just like he does this pose and he goes,
Yeah.
our team, it's these guys are talented. They're gonna put it together. Whereas Andy Green is like, no, I expect them to play better. I need them to show improvement. Christian Scott, you need to take the step forward. And obviously he's the VP of player development, so he kind of has an understanding of a lot of these young guys a little bit more than let's say Mendy.
Mhm.
Um, and you see that, and that's what I want to see in the next manager, whoever that is. I need to see that accountability, that pushing to get better, not just complacency.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess we'll see at the in the off season, who ends up taking over that role. Man, well, to take a look at the Braves, the Braves have had this home stretch right after the All-Star game where they faced the Rangers and the Padres. The Rangers, I was pretty confident that we were going to get a series win, and we did. But man, dude, these Padres have honestly owned the Braves,
Yeah.
for multiple years. And like the beginning of last year obviously swept us. It's been impossible to win against them. It feels like Machado always locks it in. Tatis always locks it in. But it wasn't Machado and it wasn't Tatis in this series. It was Ty France. Ty France is having an absolute resurgence
He's
this
been
year.
he's been
And
great lately.
yeah, and I honestly really want to see him on a contender. Like he was, and I will say, granted, the Braves were hanging some pitches, but you still got to hit him. You still got to hit him.
Hmm.
You still got to hit him out, and he was pretty much every time. So Ty France was bullying us this series. But to start one, I'm like, it was a very interesting game to start the series, a 3-2 win. Elder, he got through six, but he still looks shaky. I'm like, he's still incredibly home run prone. It seems like he's giving a home run, once or twice a game, every single time. But it's just like, as I've talked about before, when teams are really aggressive and they just give Elder outs. But if you're patient with Elder and you wait for your pitch, for the most part, it's going to be a positive outcome for the
Which is
batter.
interesting because the Padres coming, maybe like 2 weeks ago, were dead last in OPS. Like they have not been a good
Yeah.
offensive team. But Manny Machado has just come to life. Tatis has come to life since that home run. Ty France, like yeah, these guys they play hard and they like playing the NL East too because they play the Mets the same way.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I just don't like it is just so important that we have to add a starter. This team genuinely cannot be considered serious if they don't add at least one or two starters.
Hmm.
Like there is such an issue with pitching right now with the Braves, and like obviously the offense is consistently scoring, but it just genuinely feels like, especially with the starters, other than Sale, who obviously is insane, it just there just really isn't a number two right now. And obviously, we'll talk about later who I think that number two, maybe number three, should be.
Maybe number one.
But yeah, homers from Harris and Ozzy were the main things. Joey Bard also got a double. But the big story of this game, Victor Medeiros comes in, pitches 2 1/3 innings. And when he was coming out for the ninth inning, Braves Twitter was like, really? He's coming out for the ninth inning in a 3-2 game. And man, he locked down that save. And I love this guy. We'll talk about it a little. He did have a little bit of a rough game three,
Hmm.
but he pitches with the heart on his sleeve, man. The emotions. I'm like, this guy pitches like every single pitch, every single batter is game 7 of the World Series. And he kind of talked about it. He's just like, it matter. Like, I just love it when it just matters to the, and I'm not saying that it doesn't matter to other players, but sometimes
No, but yeah,
it just matters more.
especially
It's
to a
just like,
guy that
it's,
like he's never really, I don't know. I haven't heard of him before this year, right?
yeah.
And he probably doesn't make the most money in the world, and so this is important to him to get another contract to show his family, like all these things. Like there's a certain level of pride from these guys that you just don't really see with some guys that get the bag and they dip Anthony Rendon style, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like this guy is fighting for his life on the mound.
Yeah, and obviously the really cool thing was in the Rangers series in that first game, he came up and he got a chance to hit and he got
Yeah,
those 2 RBIs.
that's
So
right.
the fun fact here is that Medeiros and Hall of Famer Walter Johnson are the only players in the modern MLB history to amass the following statistics in the first 5 games of the season, which is 9 innings pitched, one or fewer runs allowed, a save, and 2 RBIs.
All right, so
So
it
that
sounds
is
like he is going to be a Hall of Famer.
yeah,
Congrats to
clearly,
Victor
clearly gonna
Medeiros. Yeah,
clearly gonna be a Hall of Famer. One of those stats that will go down to history as a
yeah.
stat. But yeah, I'm like, obviously pretty cool stuff, and I'm sure he liked seeing that. But game two, and I've talked about it. The pitching, and this could have easily been Elder. It wasn't Elder. It was Lopez. And Lopez, as he's transitioned, he hasn't. It hasn't been terrible, but it just feels like all of these pitchers are just hit so hard. 9 hits given up through 4 1/3. I just said there's just no way this team can be taken seriously without these players being added, and it was just really bad. But the game did start awesome, and it was because of Jim Jarvis. And listen, the last time we had a shortstop with flowy hair, great defense, and a clutch factor, he threw it to first base, and he won us a World Series. Of course, I'm referring to Dansby Swanson.
Yep.
And, obviously he's not a Dansby Swanson lookalike per se, but he certainly plays like Dansby Swanson from the
Dansby's
left side.
a handsome guy. Let's be clear
Handsome
here.
guy. And I don't
Very
know if you've looked
handsome.
at I don't know if you've looked at Jimmy Baseball. That's his name, Jimmy Baseball.
Mm,
And he's a handsome guy too. But he leads NL rookies and ranks third in MLB after 65 plate appearances. He's hitting 308, 16 for 52. He is the first Brave with 16 hits in their first 16 games since Vaughn Grissom. Obviously, unfortunately, Vaughn Grissom did not start out, so we're hoping for a better situation. But listen, I really feel like we might have found our shortstop of the future, which was a very open.
no
No, 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 no.
way.
No, genuinely. I think that this guy could be the shortstop of the future because this is a position that is up in the air. Obviously, with Ha-Sung Kim, really don't know what's going to happen with him. We had Arcia for a while, but this is that one position that obviously previously when we had Dansby Swanson, that was, I genuinely think that it seems like he might slow down a little bit, but
Uh,
this guy plays great defense. So I do genuinely think that he's going to stick around, of course, unless he gets
I don't
traded.
think so. I don't think so. I
But
don't
why
know.
not? But why?
I
But we
mean,
need a short. But we need a shortstop, and obviously Kim's
I
on that
understand. I understand.
1 year contract. So
But
who
I
else
mean,
is going to play
just
short?
because he's going to play shortstop this year and next year doesn't make him shortstop of the future, found your shortstop type thing. Like, I don't know. I think it
Yeah, I'm
could
like I
be.
understand. Yeah, and we have John Heel and we have Tate Southazine in the minors. Alex Lodis. We have a lot of shortstops. So
I think one of them
I,
gets traded though.
yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely think one of them gets traded. But right now, I he clearly is ready, and he clearly is ready to play. And I think that Walt should be playing him every single day. And it's going to be very interesting once Ha-Seong Kim gets back up from AAA,
True.
because there's going to be a lot of Braves fans, including me, that are going to be very upset when he gets sent down. So I don't know, we're going to see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lopez sold it along with Richie. Obviously Richie will continue to kind of get the pass because he is a rookie and he is trying to figure it out, but it has been a little bit of a struggle for him as well. And then obviously, Tatis hit the longest home run of the season, that
Crazy.
477
Crazy to
foot
like
bomb.
not hit a home run for what, like 2.5 months like he did, and now to be on the stretch that he is. He's hitting like 450 the last week. Like he's just been
Yeah,
just
so he
unreal.
he is he has definitely figured it out. And then game three, an absolutely insane ninth inning after what seemed like it was going to be an absolute snooze fest. A 7-6 win for the Braves. Perez looked his normal self. 4 innings, 5 innings. He was on a pitch count, but listen, man, an 89-mile-per-hour sinker, an 86-mile-per-hour cutter, man. It's just not really going to cut it. I'm like, obviously, I think there's a lot of teams that if they're aggressive or if they're not really kind of smart with their taking their at bats, they're going to get fooled by that a little bit. But good, consistent, patient teams, it's just, I
Mm-hmm.
just don't. I think that he belongs in the bullpen, because I think that that change of velocity, like if it's 1 or 2 innings or a long reliever, absolutely. Martin Perez should stay on this team, but he should be in the bullpen, because I'm like,
Sure.
once
Yeah.
teams sit back on that, especially sit back on that cutter, it's insane. But listen, let's move to the ninth inning, because as I said, it was a crazy ninth inning. And the Gwinnett duo of Jarvis and Brewer Hicklin, by the way, a 10-year veteran of the minor leagues. He's
Wow.
finally been called up, and he's been incredible.
Shout
Been
out.
amazing.
Shout out Hicklin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out Brewer, man. He's great. And Jarvis and Hicklin both kind of flip flop and hitting eighth and ninth have been great. Have been
Mm-hmm.
the offense and had back-to-back doubles. Jarvis had an RBI double, then Hicklin had a double, and I was like, okay, 3-1. We're gonna go into this. But then Olson, it looked like he was gonna pop out, and then it fell, and then Riley got a single, and then all of a sudden it was a 6-run ninth, and I was
Crazy.
like, amazing, awesome,
Crazy.
7-1. It's gonna be easy. But then, unfortunately, I think Walt got a little overzealous with Victor Medeiros.
Hall of
There
Famer
was the
Victor Medeiros just
Hall of Famer Victor
blew
Medeiros.
his
He came in.
load.
Yep, and
Awful.
yeah, it was not good. It was not good. He gave it up, but then again, Iggy came in, and then he gave up a 2-run home run, and then it was 7-6. Listen, Iglesias
Yeah,
is
but
back to
he's
doing
been
what he
so
usually does.
consistent, though. No, he's been so consistent. I don't know. I don't think you could
Yeah,
say he's back to what he usually does, right? He usually has
well,
to.
no, but he's getting the saves. He's getting the saves. What I'm saying is that he's back to what he usually does, making it super close and giving teams a chance and then shutting the door. I'm
I
like,
mean,
that is
no one
what he's
knows.
known
No
for.
one, yeah, well, no one knows that experience more than Mets fans with Edwin Diaz. I mean, that's like
Yeah,
that guy's whole
absolutely.
MO. It's like he would walk first two guys, and then he would just throw cheddar like 102 down the plate and just strike out three guys in a row. And you're like, what the hell? Like, there's just, it's between the ears, man. It's weird. It's like these guys just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It just kind of is what it is. But yes, he gets the save, and he got the save again today. But listen, man, Chris Sale, 6 innings, 11 strikeouts. Um, whilst Brett Beatty is not a normal outfielder, Mauricio Dubon has been, but he's had a couple errors that have turned into big. And today was another thing where he misjudged a ball.
That's
Took
your
like
boy. That's your
I know. I was
boy.
I was really upset. I was like, what is he doing? He has a 67 WRC plus.
Ugh.
In the last couple months, man, like things
Ugh.
are really trending down. That clutch factor that we previously talked about is not really there anymore. It
Mm-mm.
is it is slowly going downhill for Mauricio Dubon. And obviously, he's going to be on the bench. No matter what happens, no matter what happens at the trade deadline,
Yeah.
obviously Mauricio Dubon is going to be on the bench. He is an incredible utility player, incredibly great defensively. Let's not take anything away from what a great defender Mauricio Dubon is. But I'm like, he's made a couple errors recently that have turned into a big inning. And if he hadn't made that, I genuinely think that there was a possibility that Sale could have gone 7, maybe 8 innings. He looked
Yeah.
incredible, 11 strikeouts. every single time I see this guy pitch, it is just so much fun. He is just so incredible. He is one of the greatest lefties of this generation, and incredible person. Just has so much grit when he pitches. I'm really grateful, and I know it just sounds like such a fanboy of Chris Sale, but I'm just grateful that he pitches for us, man.
Would you
I
trade him?
it's
It was what, like Vaughn Grissom, and that was it for Chris
Yeah,
Sale?
that was it, man. It's just insane. It's literally insane.
It's absurd.
I will
It's
never
absurd.
understand that. Then, but yeah, it was 3-1. Then Ozzy had a home run, and another big Dom Smith moment, but there's not another. It was a 3-run home run, but let's be real. It has been absolutely awful, and I'm more than happy to tell you, or you can tell me I told you so. Dom Smith has fallen off an absolute cliff.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
this is the
yeah.
Dom Smith experience, right? Same thing with Dubon. It's like these guys are journeymen for reasons. Maybe you have that like flash in the pan, Jose Iglesias, where you have a great a career year when you've bounced around from a few clubs, but like for the most part, you kind of know what you're getting. It's kind of going to be a flash in the pan for a little bit, and then they'll kind of revert to the median, and that's kind of
And
what
they
happened
have.
with Dom Smith. So
And they have. I'm like, he's been hitting 173
yeah, it's bad. It's
since
bad.
the end of May. But listen, he got a hold of it. It went far. You could see the relief on his face. And like when he hit that 3-run home,
Yeah.
he was like, "Thank you, oh my god!" And it was great. It was huge. It was a huge home run for us. I'm like, we ended up winning that game, 6-5. You know what I mean? Like it was super close because Ty France hit another home run. But I'm like, it was. But I will say, one of the crazier home runs. I don't know if you've seen the clip of Baldwin's
I
home run.
saw it. Yeah.
I've absolutely no idea. I don't know if you heard the broadcast. They're like, there's no way. Like, how did he hit that? Like, the strength that he. I'm like, the thing was almost hitting it. Like, I genuinely
Yeah, it
don't
was
understand
crazy.
how he hits these. And speaking of that, it's incredible. I love him. But the final thing I will say is that we gotta get rid of Tyler Kinley. Tyler Kinley, who was incredible for the Braves at the end of last year and started good this year,
Hmm.
that slider is just hanging. It is just hanging. It is so bad now. I thought it was just versus lefties, but it's starting to be versus righties. And I don't think he's going to get released, but we're about to talk about it. I think I have an idea where we could potentially send
Yeah.
Kinley. So speaking of that, obviously we have something big coming up next week that we'll talk about it at the end. We talked about it last podcast, but we'll talk about it again. So we thought that we would use this time to do a couple mock trades, have some conversations about what we could really, hopefully see, David Stearns or Alexander Anthopoulos, doing for this trade deadline. So I think we'll go back and forth.
Yep. We'll go one for
And,
one.
yeah, and I'll start with my first one, which I generally feel like, and I'll see what you think about this. I generally feel like this is a very fair trade. So my trade, I think the first trade you have to talk about is Michael Wacha and Lane Thomas from the Royals for J.R. Ritchie, Tyler Kinley, and Roldy Munoz. I think that Michael Wacha would be a great addition to this rotation. I think that arm slot has always been great, has been very deceptive. Yes, it hasn't been out of this world for Michael Wacha this year, but I genuinely think he has playoff pedigree. He has the ability to get huge outs, and I think that he would be a great veteran addition to this rotation that, alongside the other pitcher that I'm going to mention in my second trade, could make this a great 1-2-3 in the Braves rotation. And then on the other side, Lane Thomas, who was when he was with the Nationals, was a Braves destroyer. I'm sure he would love to come to the Braves, and
Mm.
he's been having a pretty decent year. I think it's like a little bit over an 800 OPS for him this year, hitting about 240. Now on the other side, I'm sure you're like, well, why do the Royals want J.R. Ritchie, Tyler Kinley, and Roldy Munoz? J.R. Ritchie has a lot of
Well,
control.
no, they need
I
yeah, they need young guys.
Yeah, yeah,
That makes
they
sense.
need young guys.
They're one of the
So
worst teams in baseball. My thing is
I
like,
feel like
why
this.
why is Michael Wacha starting a playoff game for you?
Yes, 100%.
Because
Game
then,
three,
I
game
mean, this
three. I
this
think he
tells
starts
me
game three.
that, I mean, I heard what not Snicker, Walt Weiss said the other day about Schwellenbach and Strider. Doesn't sound like these guys are coming back this season. So if that's the case, then I see it. But if Schwellenbach and Strider or Smith Shawver, like these guys come back, it's like, why do you need Waka?
Well, I think we need two starting pitchers because Strider is washed. We've already had conversations how
Yeah,
I think his career is over,
yeah,
and I think Schwelly has the opportunity to maybe come back at the end of the year, but we don't even really know what Spencer's going to look like. And like I like there's certainly the possibility that he comes back and looks great, but there's also the possibility that he kind of struggles, gets back into the stride, and then hits 2027 with the ground running. I think Spencer
yeah,
Swellenbach
yeah.
is going to be in this rotation for
I mean,
years to
I
come.
just
Don't
feel
get me
like
wrong, but
I just feel like Waka is so blah.
I don't know, man.
He doesn't really move the needle for me.
I still he has a 1.16 whip this year. He's still, all things considered, been pretty good and pretty consistent.
Yeah, he's
So,
been good. I mean, his underlying stats are,
and I
a
think
little
Lane Thomas
worse.
would really sweeten the deal
Yeah.
because you throw him in left field. I'm like, I think that he is a playoff caliber sixth, seventh in the order bat who can make a lot of difference and has made a lot of difference. Has gotten a lot of RBIs for this Royals team. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I had kind of heard some rumblings, and listen, that's not the controversial one. The controversial one is my second one, but I'll let you. I'll let
All
you
right.
start.
I mean, I talked about it last podcast. I think the Mets are going to trade a lot of players. I
Yeah.
focused on only two of them here. The first of which I gave two destinations for Luke Weaver. I just think you have to trade him. I know they said that they won't trade him unless they get a haul, and it's like, I don't know, if there's a reliever who's having a really great year, this is probably his peak value. And if David Stearns built a really great bullpen this year, and
He did. Yeah. Yeah.
I have all the confidence in the world that he'll be able to do it next year too. And these guys like Luke Weaver are always available in free agency. So, whether or not baseball's played next year is the other question. But anywho, I am sending Luke Weaver to our division rival. I am sending him to the Philadelphia Phillies, and in exchange, I would like either Gage Wood or Andrew Painter. Andrew Painter obviously has been in the big leagues, has struggled mightily, but was
You
a
want that? You want Painter? You want all
yeah.
that jazz?
I mean, this guy's young. He's one of the top prospects in baseball still. Like,
I'm like,
I'm
yes, Wood.
willing to
I'm
chalk
down.
it up that
Bring
yeah,
me
I'm
Gage
willing to
Wood,
chalk
but
it up that both of them are just Andrew Painter's just not ready for the big leagues yet, which is fine because the Mets aren't competing for anything this year. So, like, let him figure it out in AAA, let him get into the pitching lab, whatever. So I would do either of those trades. And then I saw a rumor today that the
I saw that too.
Mariners might be
I saw that too.
shopping Emerson Hancock.
I also saw Kirby. I also
I
saw
saw
Kirby
Kirby
was
too,
being
but I
shopped
saw
as well.
Kirby, yeah,
Shout out
but
Roll Phoenix.
I know, but I would trade Luke Weaver to the Mariners for Emerson Hancock. They're looking for a right-handed bat, so honestly, here's Brett Beatty as well. How you like that? How you like that, Mariners fans? Brett Beatty and Luke Weaver for Emerson Hancock. Emerson Hancock still under team control for a couple more years, only 27 years old. He's not, the greatest pitcher in the world. But he'd be great on the Mets staff, and it would answer a
Absolutely.
question that that a question mark that they have for next year with the pitching staff.
I would be
And
very
so,
excited. I would be
and honestly,
very
it helps.
excited.
Yeah, and it helps the Mariners clear up their rotation because they need to get Kate Anderson up. This isn't a Mariners podcast, but Kate Anderson is
Yes, yes,
so
please,
freaking
yes.
good.
Yes,
So
bring
freaking
Kate
good.
Anderson up.
So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
this helps them, kind of clear up that mess a little bit. I don't really think it gets done, but I would love to see it. Because yeah, the Mariners could use some help besides Munoz, besides Andres Munoz in the bullpen. Their bullpen's kind of on the weaker side. So Weaver gives them this clear eighth inning guy to get a platoon bat, probably, or a decent bat in Brett Beatty, young guy, can play all over the field potentially. And in return, the Mets, improve their pitching. So I would love to see it. We'll see. But yeah, give us your second one, which is just it's crazy.
It's not crazy. It's
It's
not
crazy.
crazy.
It's
It's
crazy.
not crazy. Okay, whatever. Well, okay. It's gonna upset some people. Listen, I want Tarek Skubal. I want Tarek Skubal to wear an Atlanta Braves uniform, and I'm ready to do what it takes. I want to send Eric Hartman to the Tigers, and he's going to start. I'm telling you, eventually he will start
Mm.
for the Tigers, and he has had one of the best minor league seasons we have seen in ages. And I think that we have a lot of great outfield prospects, and we just signed AJ Gracia, who I feel like has the opportunity to speed through speed through the minors. So I think we send Hartman, I think we send Murphy, and I think we send Holmes, three guys to the Tigers for Tarek Skubal. Now, Braves fans are immediately going to respond to me and say, Liam, that's a rental because AA is never going to pay Tarek Skubal what he wants. And you are correct. I personally believe what we're going to be looking at in 2027 and beyond, if you have the opportunity to win the World Series, which is the whole point of this, screw the future, screw whatever you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
If you can have Chris Sale, Tarek Skubal, and Michael Waka as a 1, 2, 3 in the playoffs, I genuinely think you're going to win the World Series. I think that you're going to win the World Series, and I'm ready to give it up. I'm even willing to put Cam Caminiti in there
Wow.
to
Wow.
get Tarek Skubal if that means they'll win the World Series, because then we've won 2 World Series
Yeah, but
in the
there's no
2020s.
guarantee, and you're just mortgaging the future for half a season. I honestly don't think Scuba gets traded. I think they've kind of made it clear throughout all these reports that Scuba would like to stay in Detroit. Obviously, that's not up to him. But the AL is so tightly packed that who
But I feel
knows.
like
But
if Detroit, if the Braves go to Detroit and be like, we will give you Eric Hartman, and people in that front office look at what Eric Hartman is doing this year, I think they're. I feel like that's a huge prospect. It's the best prospect in the Braves system right now.
I don't know. I'd
Like,
have to. No, I think Cam Nitty is actually. I think
well,
Cam
yes,
Nitty is.
sorry, yes, I'm not talking about actual number one prospect. I'm talking about because Caminiti's been great, but I feel like as far as the most successful
Uh
in
huh.
the Brave system, it's been Hartman this year, and then Murphy obviously has the potential to be a great starting pitcher in the major leagues, and then get rid of Holmes. I think Holmes has the ability to be a back end of the starter like he is with the Braves, and he can pitch some stuff and he can figure it out. I'm ready to get rid of him anyways. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm willing to do it. I think it would be the right choice, but I know there's a lot of Braves fans that would disagree.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's definitely gonna ruffle some feathers, that trade proposal, because yeah, you're basically mortgaging the future for the potential to win in the NL, where you still have the Dodgers and you still have the Brewers.
Yeah.
And not even, and I'll even throw the Phillies in there too, because they're a contender, and Dave Dombrowski is a shark, and he will be buying, and he will make a huge move. So I don't know. I listen. In a 3-game series, yeah, Scooble and Sale could win you that easily. In a 5-game, maybe 7. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it, man. I really don't. Because then you got to
I don't
offer
know,
the
man. Just
qualifying
seeing how
offer
he pitched in
too.
the
It's
playoffs, just seeing how he pitched in the playoffs last year. I mean, it's just like
it's interesting. It's
he's
interesting.
just incredible. He's incredible, man. When it comes to the playoffs, man,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just some of the best pitching I've ever seen in my life, and I don't really think that a lot of people can disagree with that statement.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely true. My guy is Freddie Peralta. He is getting
Yeah,
traded. He has sucked for the Mets. I don't really think it has kind of altered his trade value that much. So I still think he gets traded for a top 100 prospect and then some. But in this trade proposal, I am packaging Freddie Peralta with either Weaver, who has another year of control, Minter, who's a rental, or Brazaban, who has a few more years of control. So I am
yeah.
giving them not only Freddie Peralta, but also a reliever. And in exchange, I am taking back Jackson Wiggins and Matt Shaw. Jackson Wiggins is reuniting with his brother, who we just drafted, Carson Wiggins, top
Yeah.
top prospect, first round pick for the Mets
Okay.
this year.
You
And
think
Matt
they're gonna give
Shaw,
you think they're gonna let go of Matt Shaw?
yeah, Matt Shaw is totally blocked in Chicago. I mean, think about it. You have Bregman at third. You have Horner at shortstop. You have, Horner at second base. Swanson at shortstop, and first base. You have Michael Bush, and Shaw can kind of play all over the infield, and he's kind of
Yeah.
the odd man out there. So, I mean, this guy's 24 years old. Give me Matt Shaw. He, top
A
prospect, top
hundred. I'm
20
like that would be
prospect a couple
that
years
would be
ago.
incredible. That's a great.
Yeah,
I
it would
like
be a
that a lot.
great
I like that
haul.
a lot.
It would be
Yeah,
a
yeah,
great
that'd be
haul. I would
great.
love to see that. And, I don't know if it gets done. The Cubs definitely need pitching, right? Like, they are
Oh,
desperate,
100%.
desperate need of pitching. And this just makes sense, right? Freddie Peralta reuniting with, Craig Counsell in Chicago. He's still in the NL Central. He gets to play, maybe spoiler to the Brewers down the stretch. Like, it's a good baseball story. And yeah, Wiggins reunites with his brother. Like, it makes too much sense not to do. We'll see if they actually pull it off, but like, as far as like mock trades goes and like
And when is Freddie?
estimations.
And when is will Peralta pitch again? He'll pitch.
Yeah, he'll pitch again
He'll
before
probably
the.
he'll probably pitch in the Brave series.
Yeah, yeah. He pitched
Yeah,
what? He pitched on what, Monday? Yeah, he pitched Monday for the Mets. So he'll pitch. No, he's probably pitching this weekend then
yeah.
against
No,
the
he'll yeah
Dodgers.
yeah. Okay, so,
So
so
probably
that'll
won't
be
be a good
that'll
showing
be his
against the
last.
Dodgers, but I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't think any of these starts are marginal, right? Like if you think that you could fix Freddie Peralta, if a team sees something mechanically, the only thing is he pitching through an injury? And we hope that's not the case, obviously, because we hope that he's healthy. But I could see him pitching through an injury. Contract year, you want to stay healthy. You want to get traded to contender. Like I could see, pushing yourself to those limits. So we'll see. We'll see. But I would really, really, really love Stearns to pull off that move.
yeah, absolutely. Well, let's move on to our player of the series. I'm like, listen, my player of the series is probably the easiest player of the series I've literally ever had. All those haters that were doubting Drake when he came back and we are looking real silly now. He hit 481, 13 for 27 on this homestand, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs. He had that 5 for 5 game in the first game against the Rangers. I'm like, he is incredible and obviously is the catcher of the future, and well, not the future anymore. He is our catcher. He
Yeah.
is our catcher. And obviously the DH, when we're doing the platoon, but I'm like an incredible player of the series, an incredible homestand for Drake. And he did struggle a little bit there, but there were a lot of people that were
A
calling
little
for his
bit.
head.
A little bit. He sucked. He was one of the worst players in baseball for about 2 weeks. Come on, you got to call if you got to call it evenly. If you're saying that he's been great, he sucked. He
He
sucked.
did. He did suck, but I think that people were then counting him out. They were saying
Fair.
that injury, the oblique, was gonna basically shut it down his production, and I think that he just needed to swing it a little bit. It was a weird kind of comeback situation for him, and now he's back, and obviously he's gonna continue doing what he's doing. I'm like he rose his batting average like 19 points.
Yeah, it's crazy.
so
Crazy.
so yeah, I'm like he is consistent as he will continue to be. He just struggled for a little bit, as most do. But I'm confident who yours is. But let me know who's your player of the series.
Yeah, my player of the series has to be Zach Thornton. First of all, congrats on the
Of
name
course.
change, obviously. But he had just a fantastic start, right? I said it briefly in the recap and in, earlier in the podcast, but he has to be penciled into the rotation. Whether or not he lives up to the hype is another question, right? We've seen it so many times from Mets pitchers who look good, down the stretch when they're not really playing for anything, these young guys, and then they come up the next year, penciled into the rotation, and they just suck. But he has been great, and he honestly, you mentioned him earlier, he gives George Kirby vibes. He has elite
Yeah,
control. He's not going to overpower you, but he will make you chase out of the zone. But he is not going
absolutely.
to get, he is not going to get beat by walks, and his whip is minuscule. It is so low. And this is something that the Mets that we have been talking about for Mets fans for years. Just throw strikes. Just attack the zone, throw strikes. If you have good stuff, it'll play. And trust your fielders. Obviously the Mets defense hasn't been great this year, but if your stuff is good enough, it's like, you'll induce soft contact and they'll make a play. And so, I see a lot of that in Zach Thornton, and, I would love for him. He's the 12th best prospect for the Mets this year. So, a little lower in the prospect rankings. Everyone, is so high on Jonah Tong, and rightfully so. But this guy, Zach Thornton, is really making a name for himself, and I would love to see him break camp next year. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's gonna do it. Braves play the Orioles. They're heading to
Wait.
Baltimore.
I didn't give my panic meter.
Oh, do we not do the panic meter?
Yeah.
Oh
I
no,
got to give
we
my
can't
panic meter.
we can't forget the panic meter.
I'm panicked.
I apologize.
I am
Please,
panicked.
panic. Yes. How
I'm not
how,
panicked.
How much are you panicked?
I'm panicked. I'm panicked on a 7 and the panic is not from the play of, Soto, Lindor, these guys. The panic is from the players that I want to trade who continue to suck. Freddie Peralta. Are you kidding me? I mean, this guy might be the worst half-year rental ever. But how are you going to fault Stearns? Because everyone said it was a great, addition in the offseason. Everyone wanted to extend him during spring training. Luckily, we didn't because, look at how bad that would look if they extended him to 6 year or whatever Max Fried money he was looking for.
Oh man.
No one expected this. Nobody expected this. Was he as good as his 2.7 ERA last year? No, absolutely not. He was basically an average. He was basically his average self last year. But
Mhm.
I mean, dude, they just
No,
need
no,
they
it's
just need to play
ridiculous.
better. And Clay
It's
Holmes
ridiculous.
got hurt, and he had his rehab start today, and he didn't look great. Not throwing a ton of strikes, gave up 2 runs, 2 walks. Like, who knows if he's going to be able to pitch before the trade deadline? Like, I need these guys to play well. I need Luis Robert to continue to play well. I need Weaver to play well. I need Brazaban if you want to trade him to play well. Like, in Stearns we trust, and this in Stearns I trust. In Stearns I trust. Okay, because he is about to make everybody eat their fucking words, because he's about to have a great trade deadline, and he's going to trade for every good prospect that the Mets can get. They are going to absolutely maximize the potential on these returns. So I cannot wait for the trade deadline, but these guys need to get their heads out of their ass because they need to play better.
Absolutely, 100%. I will challenge you and say I think that the worst rental in Mets history is Justin Verlander. However, I do agree with you
Yeah,
that it's
pretty
definitely
bad.
up there. But
It's pretty bad.
yeah, I would go Verlander's probably the worst in Mets history. I'm like he pitched once.
Yeah.
But yeah. My panic meter is a 5. Obviously, we got these back-to-back series win, and we're now 4.5 ahead of the Phillies. That's going to go back down a little bit. It's going to get to 2 games. Obviously, we play y'all next week, and so that's going to be interesting. But first, we play the Orioles. I don't really know what we're going to see, but as we've talked about, runners in scoring position, we hit 205. We won these back-to-back series, but we hit 205 with
Pretty
runners in
bad.
scoring position against the Padres. Man, I'm like, it was really not super great, and we have this offense that can really break out, and we're consistently scoring runs, but unfortunately this year just really is going to lean on if we add competent starters.
Well, you're
And
gonna get Acuna back this weekend as well.
yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see where he's at, and like if he's good, is he going to stay healthy? Is he going to stay healthy? Can
Probably
he play 60?
not.
Can he play
Probably
60 straight games?
not.
Can he stretch? Can you stretch, Ronald? If you stretch, I'll send you a cookie. I'll do it. I'll freaking do it. If you stretch, do your freaking calisthenics before the game. God, you're gonna get me upset. I just, just dude, stretch and just be smart, Ronald. Like, please. But yeah, man, it's just the pitching is really important because obviously this offense can score. This offense can 100% score. They proved it against the Rangers. They proved it against the Padres. I think they're going to prove it in Baltimore. Um, but
Probably.
yeah,
Yeah, probably.
well, we will see. But okay, that is it for today. Obviously, we talked about it a little bit. It's going to be a little bit of a different episode next week. We're doing this collab with Braves Idiots podcast, where Bret is going to be joining the podcast with 5 Braves fans
It'll be
and
fun.
recapping the Mets series. I'm not really sure how that's going to go. I'm
Listen,
sure
if the
these
Mets
guys.
sweep, I mean, I look pretty
You're
good
gonna
there.
come
It's
in,
gonna be a
come
great.
in,
It's gonna
be
be a
like,
great
"What's up?"
podcast for me. But in the unlikely scenario that happens, I do think that the Mets are gonna lose to the Braves for sure. So
Yeah, we will certainly see. But yes, that is going to be the podcast for next week. But this has been Division Therapy. Have a good night.
see ya.